Teaching children how to read should be delayed until grade 2 because it's making students anxious and causing learning problems. That's according to a radical new approach to improve Australia's literacy standards. For more, we're joined by Dr Susan Galletly, speech pathologist and researcher from Central Queensland University. Good afternoon to you, Susan. So can you tell us, how would this new approach to reading work?
It's not so much a new approach as it's time to look at a few issues, such as, are we actually starting teaching reading too young to our children? We've got one of the world's hardest spelling systems, and we're starting kids at age 4.5 to 5 years, and it's not working. We've got about 30% of kids becoming struggling readers. Our high schools are full of struggling readers.
So what would they do instead when they begin school?
Well, I'm recommending 10 changes, but the one about holding off education, formal reading instruction until grade 2. What would happen is we'd have a whole lot more language and learning enrichment for the first 2.5 years. We'd have our advanced kids would still be learning to read and write, but we'd hold off where everybody's got to learn to read until other kids are ready. We'd also put a whole lot of intervention in. We've got so many kids who start school massively at risk of learning difficulties. And if we can provide the intervention they need, speech pathology, gentle start to literacy. You know, they'll still be learning some letters, some words, but it's not going to be full on like it is now.
So walk us through that approach. What would that actually look like in terms of learning in the classroom?
Well, our teachers would love to be doing play-based instruction with kids reading lots of books, enjoying literacy, getting the play back into school, because that's how kids of that age learn well. And they'd be doing some playing with words and letters and sounds and the language skills that are needed for literacy. And we'd have people monitoring, there'd still be assessment and what have you, to ensure that kids are really, really ready. But I'm also saying we've got to research other areas. It's not just a matter of holding off till grade 2. That's not going to be sufficient. Probably the biggest change is we need to look at whether perhaps we need to explore beginners orthography, such as China, Japan and Taiwan use.
What would happen to the other kids in the classroom who are, I suppose, advanced? Would they be challenged enough under that approach?
Absolutely, because most of them would have learned to read by the time they reach mid-grade 2, and they would be doing more advanced learning. We need to make literacy development easier. Our teachers are working too hard. That forces them to teach to the middle. We need our strong learners extended. We need every kid developing strong literacy skills, and we need our kids who are struggling or at risk of it to get the support they need. So basically, we need our teachers not pressured.
If we take an overall approach, why do you think then Australia's literacy standards have slipped, over time?
Well, we've picked one of the world's hardest spelling systems. We start our kids at 4.5 when their working memory and cognitive processing skills are really weak. We've got generations of weak readers, so we've got parents who are struggling to get their kids ready for school. We've got a language weakness epidemic across Australia, so many kids with weak language skills. And we think we're putting money in, but we've got severe orthographic disadvantage. Most nations have highly regular spelling. Their kids learn to read in weeks to months, and spelling. Our kids take years, and we're just not looking at it. We need to start weighing child and teacher workload, how hard our kids are working and how hard our teachers are working, and compare them with Finland, Estonia, China, Japan, Taiwan. I could name you 100 nations.
I'm interested, is it being affected in any way, shape or form about how English language is being taught to read in school?
Do you know, I think it's less how it is being taught and simply the sheer complexity. It's very hard to make English really, really simple. And teaching kids numbers 1 to 9, you can do in a really, really simple way, okay? Whereas our kids get hit left, right and centre with different spellings of words and what have you. So it's hard to keep it simple so that 4.5-year-olds to 5-year-olds are going to thrive.
All right, Dr Susan Galletly, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you, Dougal.
Premier League soccer player